Good day, everyone. How are you? How is everyone?
We're good, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
How
you.
about you, ma'am?
I'm okay. Thank you for asking and thank you for your responses. So, last time, remember we discussed the preposition of movements through the rules. We learned that the structure of prepositions of movement is verb plus the preposition plus object or uh, the subject. Now, for this session, we are going to learn the preposition of movement through different examples. Now, let's have the next slide. Let's have a recap or objectives. Let's have our objectives first. At the end of the session, students are expected to number 1, identify the different preposition of movement. Number 2, compose sentences using preposition of movement. Now that we have our objectives, let's have a quick recap of what is the preposition of movement. What is the meaning of it? The preposition of movement shows movement from one place to another place. Again, the meaning of the preposition of movement shows the movement from one place to another place. Let's also have the next slide. These prepositions always describe movement and we usually use it in verbs in motion. We have here the highlighted words always describe movement with the verbs in motion. So we usually use the preposition of movement through the verbs in motion, or we also always describe it through their movement. Now that we knew or we have a recap of the meaning of the preposition of movement, let's have the different examples. Let's have the first picture. What do you think? Can someone read what is the presented picture and the sentence of it?
Can I, ma'am?
Yes, go ahead, Miss Kate.
The cat ran across the street.
Thank you. We have here the cat run across the street. Then let's have the next picture. And then the sentence as well. Let me read it for you. One is walking across the bridge. For the first picture, we have the cat ran across the street. Then in the second picture, Juan is walking across the bridge. Now, I want you to observe what is the commonalities of these two pictures or two sentences.
May I,
Anyone?
ma'am?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Carlitos.
The word across.
Thank you. And yes, we have here the word across because in the first picture we have it is said that the cat ran across the street, and in the second picture, one is walking across the bridge. But how do we use across in a sentence? Let's have the next slide. The meaning of across. Across, it means it is the movement from one side to the other side of something. We can see here in the picture that the ball moves across the platform or the bridge. Again, the meaning of across, it is the movement from one side to the other side of something. Then let's have different sentences or different examples of the word across. Juan walked across the field. Then let's have the other examples. Can someone read what? Will someone please read what is the presented sentence?
May I, ma'am?
Go ahead, Mr. Carlitos.
The athlete swam across the pool.
Thank you. And then let's have the next sentence as well. Miss Kate, you were raising your hand earlier.
Yes, ma'am. In here, the sentence is a grin spread across Mary's face.
Thank you. And then let's have the last two sentences. The next one, please. Let me read the two last sentences for across for you. The pharmacy is across from the municipal hall. And then the last sentence, Juliet reached across the table to shake Romeo's hand. Again, we have here different examples of the word across. We use across it is the movement from moving from one side to another. Then let's have the next preposition. And then the next sentence, he is walking along the path. Again, here in the picture we can see that he is walking along the path. And then for the next picture we have the students are walking along the streets. Again, here in the second picture, the students are walking along the streets. What do you think is the commonality between these two pictures and two sentences? Okay, someone answered that they observed that the two sentences have the word along. Okay, that is a good observation. Then let's have the meaning of along. Along, it is used to show movement of something in a line that follows the side of something long. Again, the meaning of along here, it is used to show movement of something in a line that follows the side of something long. Then we can hear in this picture that the ball is moving along the boxes. Then let's also have different sample sentences of the word along. Will someone please read the different sample sentences? All of it, the 5 sentences.
Can I, ma'am?
Go ahead, Miss Kate.
1. I drove along the avenue. 2. Cars were parked along the road. 3. Go along South Street and turn left. 4. Halfway along the wall, he overbalanced and fell. 5. It grew so dark that people could not see their way along the streets.
Thank you. And we have here different sentences, different examples on the word along. Again, the meaning of along is the movement of something long or moving into something long. For example, here, I drove along the avenue. I am driving in a path along the avenue, or I am moving in a long avenue. And then let's also have the next preposition of movement. In this picture, we can see that Maria is running around the pond. Again, we can see here, right? Maria is running around the pond. And then let's have also the second sentence. The bird is flying around the birdhouse. The bird is flying around the birdhouse. Can someone answer what is the commonality between these two sentences, or what you observed? Go ahead,
Ma'am,
Miss
can I
Kate.
answer?
Go ahead.
Ma'am, I think they both have the same word, which is around.
Thank you. You have a good observation. You are rather observant. Yes, we have here the word around. But how do we use around? Let's have the meaning of around. Will someone please read what is the meaning of around and volunteer? Okay. Yes, Miss Kate?
Around. It is a movement passing something in a curved road, not going through it.
Thank you. Again, let me read it for you. Excuse me. It is a movement passing something in a curved route, but not going through it. Again, here in the box, we can see that the ball is moving around the box. We can see here that the ball moved in a curved route, right? Then let's also have different samples, different sentences. And then let me read it for you. For the first sentence, he put his arm around her. Number 2, the earth goes around the sun. Number 3, May had a scarf around her neck. Number 4, the snake coiled itself tightly around the rat. And for the last sentence, as the bus left, she turned around and waved goodbye to us. We can see here that around is used in a different sentences, different examples. Again, the meaning of around, it is a movement of going in a curved route. Again, around is going in a curved route, but not going through it. And then, let's also have the next preposition of movement. He is swimming away from the shark. We can see here that the man, or he is swimming away from the shark. And then let's also have the next picture. The bird is flying away from the birdhouse. The bird is flying away from the birdhouse. We can see here that in these two pictures, there is words away from. But how do we use away from? Let's have the meaning of away from. Away from, it indicates the point where a movement begins. Again, away from meaning it indicates the point where a movement begins. We can see here in the picture that the ball is moving away from the box. Again, in this picture we can see that the ball is moving away from the box. Then let's also have different sample sentences of away from. Any volunteer to read what are the different examples of away from? Go ahead, Mr. Carlitos.
More examples for away from. They walk away from their house. He felt sad as he walked away from the hospital. My family and I are traveling away from Manila. Jack is not away from the spot where the accident took place. Bay's family moved away from their town in search of better opportunities.
Thank you. And we can see here different examples and different contexts from what we use the way we use away from. And then let's also have the next preposition of movement, which let's also have different pictures, different examples. Ella is walking down the stairs. We can see here that the girl, or Ella, is walking down the stairs. Let's also have the next picture. My family and I watched the sun go down. My family and I watched the sun go down. Any volunteer? What did you observe from these two sentences, from these two pictures?
May I, ma'am?
Go ahead, Mr. Carlitos.
Their common word is down.
Thank you, and that is correct. The common word here is down. But let's see what is the meaning of down and how do we use it. Can Miss Kate will Miss Kate please read what is the meaning of down?
Down. The movement from a higher point to a lower point of something.
Thank you. The meaning of down is the movement from a higher point to a lower point of something. Thank you. Then let's also have different sample sentences. We have here different sample sentences and let me read it for you. Tears ran down her face. The stone rolled down the hill. Someone pushed him and he fell down the stairs. The boys rode their bikes down the pathway this morning. For the last sentence, the driver parked the truck in the front of the warehouse and headed down the street. We have here different examples as well as different contexts. Again, the meaning of down is moving from a higher point to a lower point of something. Let's also have the next preposition of movement. Juan dived into the pool. And for the next sentence, the milk is pouring into the glass, the drinking glass. What is the common word here, or the commonality of between these two sentences rather? Someone answered the word into. That is correct. Very good. Then, let's have the meaning of into. How do we use it? Into, it refers to a movement to an enclosed space, movement resulting in physical contact. Again, the meaning of into, it refers the movement to an enclosed space, movement resulting in a physical contact. We can see here that the ball move into the box, which result to a physical contact when it enters the box. Let's also have different samples, different sentences of the word into. May I have Mr. Carlitos to read the different sentences, different examples?
Yes, ma'am. More examples. Into. Come into the house. Joselito dove into the water. Maya got into her car and drove away. Alex neatly sorted all his files into separately labeled folders. Hundreds of athletes marched into the stadium for the opening ceremony.
Thank you. We have here different examples and different contexts for the word into. Again, the meaning of into is the movement to an enclosed space. And then let's also have the next preposition, which is let's have first this first example. John fell off the bike. Then the second picture, he falls off the ladder. Can someone answer what is the common word or the common what is the common word for these two sentences?
Can I, ma'am?
Go ahead, Miss Kate, rather.
Ma'am, the common words or word here is the fell off, and the other sentence is just in the present form.
Thank you. That is a good observation. But we have here the common word off. Well, you really have a good observation, Miss Kate, and I commend you for that. And then let's have the meaning of off. It refers to the movement away from and often down from something. Again, the common word in the pictures earlier is off, and it refers to the movement away from and often down from something. Then let's also have different sample sentences. And then let me read it for you. Earl is taking off his jacket. Number 2, they took the wheel off the car. Excuse me. Number 3, Mira is wiping the paint off the wall. Number 4, the student cleaned the spilled water off the classroom floor. And for the number 5, you should turn off the computer before leaving the room. We have here different examples of off. It is often putting something off or away from, but no, sorry. It is often removing something or taking off rather. And then let's also have the next preposition. Juliet is climbing onto the table, and for this next sentence, the water is spilled onto the floor. What do you think is a common word here for these two sentences? Someone answered onto. That is correct. Then let's also have the meaning of onto. How do we use it? Onto on a sentence. Next slide, please. Onto, it refers to the movement to a top surface of something. Again, the meaning of onto, it refers to the movement to the top surface of something. Then, let's also have different sample sentences. Number 1, we climbed onto the roof. The men were standing onto the platform. A tree fell onto a car, trapping the people inside. Number 4, the librarian moved the books onto the second shelf. And number 5, Sally collapsed onto her bed after a long, tiring day at work. Again, onto is the movement of putting or climbing onto the top of something. Then let's also have the next preposition, the next pictures. The mouse crawled out of the box. Then the second picture, the person took the letter out of the envelope. Class, what do you think is the common word or common words for this preposition of movement? Okay, someone answered out of. Let's see. What is the meaning of out of and how do we use it? Out of, it indicates the enclosed space where a movement begins. Again, the meaning of out of is it indicates the enclosed space where a movement begins. We can see here in the picture that the ball moved out of the box. We can see that the ball moved from the enclosed space. Then let's also have different sample sentences and different contexts. Will someone please read the different examples of out of?
Can I, ma'am?
Go ahead, Miss Kate.
Out of. First, he took a coin out of his wallet. Second, Miss Gomez walked out of the room. Third, the man went out of the building and turned right. Fourth, the passenger jumped out of the car and ran across the road. And for the last one, he pulled a handkerchief out of his shirt pocket and handed it to her.
Thank you. Again, the meaning of out of is moving from an enclosed space. And here we have different examples, different example sentences and different contexts. Again, the meaning of out of is moving from an enclosed space. Let's also have the next preposition. The bird flew over the box. And for the next picture, we have let's have the horse jump over the obstacle. Any volunteer? What do you think is the common word for these two pictures, for these two sentences?
The word overman.
Thank you, Mr. Caritas. He answered the word over. Then let's also have the meaning of over. How do we use it? Over, it refers to the movement above and across to the top or top surface of something rather. Again, it refers to a movement above and across the top or top surface of something. We have different sentences. We also have different sample sentences and different contexts. Miss Kate, will you please read what are the sample sentences for over?
Over. Lynn wore a jacket over her uniform. A beautiful white bird flew over the lake. The mother put a blanket over the sleeping child. A small boat came over and rescued stranded people. I was able to protect myself from the rain with an umbrella over my head.
Thank you. And then let's also have the next preposition, the next sample pictures. Marie swam past the lifeguard. Again, Marie swam past the lifeguard. And for the next picture, we have he walked past the post office. Any volunteer? What do you think is the common word or commonality for these two pictures, two sentences? Someone answered the word past, which is correct. But how do we use past in a sentence? What is the meaning of it? Let's have the next slide. Past, Past, it is the movement from one side to the other side of something. Again, The meaning of pass is it is the movement from one side to the other side of something. We can see here in the picture that the ball moved past the box. Let's also have different sample sentences of the word past. Let me read it for you. We took a walk past the park. He hurried past them without stopping. Angel lived in a house just past the church. I'll go on the train station past the post office. 3 boys went past us using their mountain bikes. Then, class, is my discussion fast? Do we need to slow down? Are you catching up?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
It's just
ma'am.
right.
Thank you for your responses. And then let's also have the next preposition of movement. Anne is running to the front door. The ambulance is rushing to the hospital. What do you think is a common word here? Any volunteer? Okay, someone answered the word to, which is correct. We have the common words here, to. But how do we use the word to? Let's have the meaning of to. It refers to the movement in the particular direction of something. Again, the meaning of to, it refers to the movement in the particular direction of something. Let's have different sample sentences of the word to. Here are some more example sentences more example sentences of the word to. Number 1, the athlete is running to the finish line. Number 2, I am heading to the entrance of the building. Number 3, Johnny is walking past to the post office to drop a mail. And lastly, my friends and I went to the movie theater to watch the film. Again, the meaning of to is the movement towards something or to the direction of it. And let's also have the next sample sentences or sample pictures. Let's have the next slide. He walked through the tunnel. Then we have the next picture. We have the ball went through the window. Class, what do you think is the common word here? Between these two sentences, what is the common word?
The word through, ma'am.
Thank you, and that is correct because we have here the common word through. But how do we use it in a sentence, or what is the meaning of through? Let's have the meaning of it. It refers to the movement in one side and out of the other side of something. We can see here in the picture that the ball went through the tunnel or the cube. Again, it refers to the movement in one side and out of the other side of something. Let's also have different sample sentences of the word through. Now, may I have Miss Kate to read the different sample sentences for the word through?
Through. We dove through the tunnel. The sand went through my fingers. They walked slowly through the forest. The doctor pushed his way through the crowd. And last, the trip took long because we can't get through the traffic.
Thank you. And let's also have the next preposition or the next pictures. Noah is walking up the stairs, and then James is climbing up the mountain. Class, what do you think is the common word here? Okay, someone answered the word up. That is correct. But how do we use up in a sentence or in a context? Let's here we have the meaning of up. It refers to the movement from a lower point to a higher point of something. We can see here in the picture that the ball is moving up to the stairs. Again, the meaning of up is it refers to the movement of a lower point to a higher point of something. Excuse me. And then let's also have different sample sentences. Let me read it for you. I walk up the hill. Put your hand up if you know the answer. He was up the ladder, cleaning the windows. Lynn glanced up from the book she was reading. A path leads up from the beach to the top of the cliff. Again, we have here different sample sentences of the word up. And the meaning of up is the movement of the lower point to a higher point of something. Okay, it's activity time. Before we start our activity, do you have any questions, clarification about our discussion?
None so far, ma'am.
And so far, ma'am.
Thank you for your responses. Now, for this activity, I am going to show you different preposition of movement. Don't worry, we only have 4 different preposition of movement. I am going to show you its picture and the movement, but I want you to create or compose your own sentence according to the preposition of movement. Is that clear? Again, I am going to repeat the instruction. I am going to show you 4 different preposition of movement. I want you to create or compose your own sentence using this preposition of movement. Okay, class, is that clear? Are you ready for the activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your responses. And then let's have the first sentence, or the first preposition of movement rather, which is down. You may use the child box to answer this preposition of movement, or you can also use your microphone. Any volunteer to compose or create your own sentence using the word down? Okay, someone typed in. Let me read. Miss Kate answered she was walking down the street. And Mr. Carlitos also answered, I fell down from the bed. That is correct. Both of you are correct. Good job, that is very good. Then let's also have the next preposition, which is through. Can you create or compose your own sentence using the word through? Okay, someone already answered through the chat box. Let me read. The bullet went through the vest of the policeman. He struggled through the crowd till he reached the front. That is also correct. I can see that everyone really understand our lesson for today. Then let's have the third one. Over. We have here the movement over. Can you create or compose your own sentence using the word over? Using the preposition of movement over. Okay, someone answered. Miss Kate answered, the balcony just out over the street. And then Mr. Carlitos also answered, I can't get over of my grades. I can see that Mr. Carlitos has a hugot over his grades. And that is also correct. Your answers are correct. Then let's also have the last preposition of movement, which is around. Can you create or compose your own sentence using the preposition of movement? Using the preposition of movement around. Okay, I can see someone is already typing their answers. Miss Kate answered, I walk around the side of the building. And Mr. Carlitos also answered, the grocery was just around the corner, which is correct. Both of you are correct. I can see that everyone really did a great job composing and creating their own sentences, and I can see that everyone understand the lesson for today. Let's have the next slide rather. Since the lesson for today is already finished, let's check the objectives for today if we achieve it. Number 1, identify the different preposition of movement. Class, did we achieve this? Do you think did we achieve this objective for today? Someone typed in yes, ma'am, because we identified the different meaning of the different preposition of movement. That is correct. We can see that we already attained it or we achieved it. And for the next sentence, compose sentences using the preposition of movement. Did we achieve it for today, for the session? Someone typed in, okay, someone raised their hand. I can see Miss Kate raising her hand. Yes, Miss Kate, do you have something to say?
None so far, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. For the for the second objective, we achieve it through because everyone did create or compose their own sentences using the preposition of movement through the activity. Am I correct? Someone typed in yes. Okay, I guess that is all for today's session. Do you have any questions, clarifications before we end our discussion? Okay, someone typed in none so far, ma'am. Okay, well, I see that everyone understand and everyone enjoyed today's session. You may now leave the class. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.